Do we need a Pokemon MMORPG? Let's take a few minutes and talk about that. So I am a huge Pokemon nerd. Like, my favorite Pokemon games were Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Gold, and then probably Pokemon Crystal in that order. Those were absolutely phenomenal games, and they instantly hooked me on the franchise. I mean, yeah, I was a fan of Digimon as well, having played Digimon World 1 through 3 for the PS1 when they were each originally released. But the Pokemon games, with the exception of the very first Digimon game, have always been highly enjoyable for me. So fast forward to last week, I was talking about Anime MMORPGs. I mentioned that I was highly anticipating Temtem because it looked like a pretty good Pokemon-esque MMO, since there is no official Pokemon MMORPG as of this moment. And before we go any further, I am going to stop you right there. I am well aware that there exist private servers of Pokemon MMOs. I do. I am completely aware of that. My concern with those kinds of games, though, is that they're not official. While Game Freak have neglected to shut any of them down, sure, the fact remains that they're all fan-made, and despite how good or accurate they might end up being, I don't know. I've seen my fair share of private servers shut down over the years, and playing a private server for a game as large as Pokemon just kinda gives me a bad vibe long term. But that's not my point. That's not what this video is about. I'm not here to discuss private servers. Instead, I'm here to talk to you guys about a full official Game Freak developed Pokemon MMORPG. So as I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware, a Pokemon MMO is probably one of the most requested, most sought after MMOs that the genre could ask for. Now, Game Freak have actually discussed the potential for an MMO in the past. They didn't really touch on it much, but they made it very clear that, at least at the time, they had absolutely no interest in making one. However, that was before titles like Temtem and Dokkaebi were announced, and long before private servers were ever introduced. See, private servers for these Pokemon MMOs, they have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of players. And then we have games like Temtem and Dokkaebi. They're both highly anticipated monster capturing MMOs. So yeah, like Crema Games, Pearl Abyss, they know exactly what the market wants, and they're trying to monopolize on that as soon as they can. You can't think Game Freak and Nintendo haven't taken note of this. But when Googling around looking for people's opinions on the subject, I noticed that although a Pokemon MMO is in high demand, literally nobody wants Game Freak to be in control of developing it. And I get it. A lot of people believe Game Freak ruined Pokemon, and I'm not here to disparage those opinions. Regardless of the developer chosen to oversee a Pokemon MMO, I don't really see them having nearly as deep of an understanding of the game. Maybe new eyes on a Pokemon project would be a good idea. Maybe we could get a developer that has a lot of experience making an MMO and somehow incorporate monster catching into the existing MMO formula. But then comes a very specific problem. Pokemon games, every single Pokemon game has an end. They are finite in terms of content. Well, yes, you can go ahead and grind levels, you can breed a race of super babies, you can hunt shinies, and these days even compete with other players. How would progression actually work in a Pokemon MMO? To make it faithful to the franchise, you'd be required to have gym leaders, you'd have maximum levels, maybe you'd even have a league. But after obtaining your 8 badges, would that be it in terms of content? If so, that'd be a Pokemon game that'll let you play in some form with some other people. That wouldn't really make it an MMO. So then would it be better to merge every region together? I mean, that'd provide players with no doubt quite the surplus of content to consume, but it would still have an end, not to mention the sheer amount of time and effort that would need to go into creating that world. Currently, progression in MMOs function in a linear, predictable fashion. You level to max level, you run dungeons and raids to get gear, rinse and repeat until the next patch where you run new story content, new dungeons, and new raids. Again, continue to rinse and repeat. That is the age-old formula still utilized to date, and it works. Don't get me wrong, this actually really does work. Look at every MMO right now, with the exception of, I guess, something like Black Desert. Every MMO follows the same formula of content updates, but I don't really think that it'd work very well for Pokemon. We don't obtain gear, and we don't run dungeons or raids. Pokemon is a pretty basic game. You fight people, you level up, and you explore. That's the basis of the game. Don't get me wrong, I would absolutely love a Pokemon MMORPG, I would. I think a Pokemon MMO could really shake the genre up, could really bring something new and innovative to the genre that has stagnated over time. Yet at the same time, I do not know how that would work. This might be part of the reason why Game Freak never really had any plans to bring the game over in MMO form. I feel like this is a topic that does require further discussion though. To those of you that would like an actual official licensed version of a Pokemon MMORPG, perhaps by Game Freak or at least backed by someone with the funding of Game Freak, what form would you like that MMO to take? Seriously, this discussion needs to happen. Temtem and Dokkaebi are right around the corner. But hey, that's just my opinion, my impressions about a potential upcoming Pokemon MMO. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below and let's talk about it. Anyway guys, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this and I'll see you all next time.
Peace.